Story 1. This unusual cactus refuses to die. He gave it to me as a joke because I kept killing all my plants. Now it is large and honestly becoming a problem, but I am strangely proud of keeping it alive this long. Story 2. My life. I'm alive because of her. After a long night of dancing, I was dropping my friends off at home and saying goodbye to each one, not knowing I was really saying goodbye. I dropped her off last, after we had a big heart-to-heart in the car. She said, "You know I love you, right?" That gave me hope, especially since we weren't even dating. We dated for a few years and then broke up because we both felt it wasn't right to stay together. We still keep in touch. Story 3. A pizza stone. Unlike most of the responses so far, we had a decent breakup. She was and is a great person, just not the one for me. She gave me a pizza stone for Christmas in 2000. I still have it and still use it. Story 4. When I, a 69-year-old man, was a teenager, I asked my girlfriend to give me a guitar strap so I could have it when I am old. I still have the guitar strap and the guitar. When I get really old, I am going to send her a picture with many thanks. Story 5. A better life without her. Oh, and an understanding that there are some with mental health issues who do not want to help themselves, let alone those close to them. It only took 25 years of trying. Story 6. Anger. I never really used to get angry at things. I grew up with an angry parent who had borderline personality disorder and thought their anger was completely pointless. It turns out being treated unfairly for years and marginalized makes you rightfully angry, and anger is intended to help you stand up for yourself. I'm glad I unlocked anger. However, several things make me angry now that are not important enough for it, and overall it is a bother to my communication skills. Story 7. He gave me a love of video games. Basically, whatever he played, I became curious and played too while he was deployed. That always stayed with me. When we got divorced, I asked for all the games I liked and their consoles. Now I can keep playing as much as I want. Story 8. In a post-breakup letter, which also included a well-made breakup mixtape, she gave me a line that I still think about because it perfectly encapsulates that late 1990s era of expression. I went to the store today to buy a pack of Marlboro menthols and smoked one just to remember the taste of your kiss. Possibly my favorite compliment from an ex, or at least the most well-articulated. Story 9. A book. On its pages, she wrote only hateful and hurtful things masked as kind thoughts. One example. Keep this book so your future children know why you are not there with them when they need you. You have no idea what it is to love somebody. Story 10. One got me a Keurig after cheating on me, and another got me an air fryer after we broke up. It has become my running joke that I collect kitchen appliances with my breakups, and I make jokes about what my current partner can get me. Oh, a new fancy crock pot would be nice. Story 11. I still love my former partner. I want her to find happiness, and part of me will always wish that we could have been happy together. That said, the realization that being alone is better than being with the wrong person is something my former partner gave me that I will always keep. Being alone is difficult, but it is better than being with the wrong person. Story 12. My ex made me a very long extension cord because store-bought ones were very expensive, and this was back in college. I still have it to this day. Currently, my husband uses it, though he does not know or remember that it was made by my ex. Story 13. A little bathroom bin that has honestly seen better days. The sides of the basket have snapped off because they are so old. I know I should replace it with a new one, but when he passed away, his parents took everything he owned and threw out almost all of it. They gave me a hat he used to wear, which I still have, but for some reason, I cannot let go of that little broken bin. It is one of the few physical objects I have of his. Objects often hold an emotional charge for me because looking at them sparks specific memories. He has been gone for 13 years now. I still miss you just as much as the day you died, Shay. Story 14. My ex deceived me into getting her pregnant, then left when the baby was 1 year old. I had to raise the infant by myself. I have not seen her since. He is 14 years old now. I hope the door hit her on the way out. Story 15. A can opener. He hated my manual can opener, so he bought me an electric can opener as a Christmas present. He was right. It is much better. It has been 25 years now, and I am still using it. Story 16. An object. A really cool submarine clock. An idea. I do not really care what people think of me anymore. Story 17. I have this clothespin that, when opened, says, "I love you" on it from a middle school relationship. Story 18. A fear of commitment. 7 years later, I still get nervous when someone wants to define the relationship. Story 19. My first boyfriend gave me this beautiful antique ring. It is two rings that come together to look like lovers. I will never get rid of it. Story 20. A self-taught YouTube degree in narcissistic personality disorder and psychopathy with the corresponding complex post-traumatic stress disorder trauma and all that entails. Praise be, on the other side of the spectrum, I have my children. Story 21. Beautiful memories and a lifelong ache. But 3 things I kept that she gave me meant a lot in their own ways, especially with the timing. 1. An album that we both love, which she gave me before we were together. Polaroids from a photo shoot she did for me and herself that are pretty risque and that she wanted me to keep. A photo booth photo series of us that she framed on a background with a bunch of her kisses around it in lipstick. Story 22. A very important life lesson. If a man often asks you, "Can you pay for this? Can you pay for that?" he has full intention of becoming a leech since the relationship is unbalanced. Story 23. Experience. Not the good kind of experiences, but experience in every worst possible scenario that one could face in a relationship. It was horrible to endure, but in some way, I find appreciation in it because I will never allow myself to go through anything like that ever again. I have experienced the worst of things, so I will only accept the better. Story 24. A traumatic brain injury and problems such as chronic migraines and memory issues accompany it. It is a challenge that persists. Story 25. Trauma, self-loathing, fear of attachment, and a reluctance to pursue anyone at all due to a pattern of abusive ex-partners, as well as a deep distrust of anyone who expresses interest. Story 26. My stomach is damaged due to events that would not have occurred without him. I fully blame him, and it causes me constant physical pain to this day, 12.5 years later. Story 27. Technically, my former wife is my ex. We broke up for about a year, then got back together because I realized I was foolish for letting her go. So, everything in life is what my ex gave me. Story 28. Children, I'll keep those forever. Just recently, I was sewing something and realized that my sewing box is about 30 years old. My ex got it for me for Christmas one year. Story 29. A better self. I had been dumped by everyone I had ever loved and never understood why, until the most significant breakup. Losing that person was the worst thing that ever happened to me, and believe me, it had competition for that title. I wanted my ex back so badly that I dedicated almost all of my spare time and energy to self-improvement so they would want me back and so I could be a better partner than I had been when they ended the relationship. After a while, I realized I was no longer doing it for them. I was doing it for myself. This showed me how much progress I had made. I worked my way out of my codependent tendencies that, unbeknownst to me, had driven away every partner I had before. I have never been dumped again after that. It has been 18 years, and I feel there is a definite line between my pre-breakup and post-breakup selves. Story 30. My last name. The inability to trust men. The opportunity to move to the West Coast. And now I refuse to leave. Story 31. My very first boyfriend when I was 13 asked me what I wanted for Valentine's Day. I jokingly said a slinky. Well, he bought me a slinky. It is in my curio cabinet right now. I will never get rid of it. Story 32. Many people are offering negative responses here. I could do the same, but truly, one thing she gave me is memories of several years of genuine happiness and love, and I will never forget that. Story 33. A promise ring from my high school and college boyfriend. I don't wear it but still have it because it is white gold with an emerald and 2 tiny diamonds, worth a little bit anyway. I forget about it. I should probably just sell it. It is really pretty though. Story 34. I kept a keyring that the teacher who guided me gave me for about 20 years. I lost that bunch of keys. It was kind of liberating. Story 35. I have a dog tag my ex had custom made for me with a line from a poem I wrote her when we first started dating. I don't wear it, but it floats around a lot, so I ended up putting it in one of the cup holders of my car to avoid losing it. I am a simple man. The small things always mean the most to me. Story 36. My ex hated my whole house and furniture, but she didn't hesitate to take it all and still live among it 10 years later. Story 37. She gave me a very nice quality blanket for my birthday in 2003. While it was not the ideal birthday present for a 19-year-old, the blanket has remained with me since then. I likely would have discarded it long ago, but my wife and I adopted a 3-year-old dog in 2013 who had been abused and chewed things constantly when his anxiety got very bad. So the blanket became his, as we thought it was no big deal if he chewed that blanket. However, the blanket became the one thing he never chewed, calmed him down, and became his favorite. After he passed away in July, we kept the blanket, and the dogs we adopted in January have since taken ownership of it. Aside from some fraying, it remains in good condition. Story 38. Wow, all of these responses are depressing, so here is one that is a little more wholesome. At some point in our relationship, my ex had attached a small metal tag to my keychain that reads, "Drive safe. I need you here with me," engraved on it. I think I kept it with me for 2 reasons. 1. She is one of the best people I have ever met, and I have nothing but respect and admiration for her. So, despite not being interested in a relationship with her anymore, I do not feel compelled to get rid of it just for the sake of cutting ties from the ex. It is a reminder to me that I owe it to my friends and family to drive safely so I can still be a part of their lives. Story 39. A Build-A-Bear Blue Raptor from the Jurassic World movie. She knew I am a nerd for Jurassic Park and Jurassic World and took me, a 24-year-old man, to build a bear. Story 40. A candle snuffer, a measuring tape, wine glasses, snow pants, and a plant. They are perfectly good items. Why would I get rid of them? Story 41. My ex and I worked at the same place. I worked the day shift and he worked nights. In the morning, when I came to work, he would always leave a note in my desk drawer. To this day, I still have them all and read them from time to time. Story 42. This ring was given to me 30 years ago by an ex as a Christmas present. He died in his sleep in 2016 at the age of 48. Rest in peace, Andy. Story 43. Positive. How I prefer to cook my eggs. Love for the X-Files. Respect for a 2-chord song. Enjoying terrible horror movies. Appreciation for cinema in general. How to bake amazing chocolate chip cookies. Love for cosplay. Exaggerating a story for the sake of storytelling. Love for couples in love performing duets. Negative. 14 years now being a completely different person from the irreparable heartbreak of loss. Story 44. Distrust of short, bald men with glasses. Actually, a distrust of any man I have not met before, and many I have. I do have a nice old Wedgwood stove that another ex gave me. He was a contractor and they were taking it out of a house they were renovating. Story 45. One of his work jackets, which looks exactly like a work jacket I had from one of my old jobs. A business card from his old job, and a sticky note that says, "I love you" in cursive from him. The card and sticky note are in my wallet. He was also my ex-fiancée, whom I was actually going to marry. Rest in peace. Story 46. A Zippo lighter with a buffalo on it reminded me of home. I do not smoke anymore, but I like the lighter. Story 47. I have a few pieces of art still on my walls, one of which she created herself. No hard feelings, so it is not an issue. Story 48. A painting she made of a photograph of us in a boat floating down a river. It was extremely foggy, so it is just a silhouette. It is beautiful and reminds me every time I see it how good things once were, as well as what is important to me in a relationship. Some days it is harder to look at than others, but these days I mostly see it and feel only good feelings. Story 49. Music introduced me to many bands I had never heard of, and I am very thankful for it. My favorite group is Olive. She gave me a copy of their album Trickle, and since then it has been on every device I can play it on. Just last month, I bought the actual albums for display in my office. Thanks, Sailor Pern, if you are reading this. Story 50. I always loved making custom mix compact discs for people I fell for. I would write out the track list, design the whole case, and label the compact disc with a special note. One person did the same for me. It is still in my car compact disc player years later. Story 51. His daughter. I became her stepmother before she turned 3. We divorced when she was 12. She is 17 now and still very much part of my life. When I left him, her mother reached out and asked me not to leave her daughter too. I actually cried at that moment. Her mother and I had not always been close or even nice to each other. Now we talk regularly, and I do everything I can for our daughter. Her mother has told me I was the best thing to come from her daughter's father's side of the family. Story 52. After we divorced, she knitted a beanie and gave it to me. I'm not sure if she actually knitted it for me, or if it was just a random project she wanted to get rid of. I still have it even after it accidentally went into the dryer and shrunk. For some reason, I cannot see myself ever throwing it away. Story 53. I have kept every piece of jewelry my ex-partners have given me. I do not feel sentimental towards them, but I keep them out of respect because I do that with any gift given to me. Story 54. Photos. Nothing inappropriate, just normal photos. We ended on good terms, and they were a significant part of my life. I still love them very much and want nothing but the best for them. I don't see myself throwing out anything that came from such an important part of my life. Story 55. Perspective. I put up with a lot of nonsense from her. I was much more level-headed when I entered my next relationship. I wish I had broken up with that ex long before it got to where it ended. Story 56. The wisdom never to fully trust anyone again, not even the people who call themselves my friends. Story 57. Not really an ex, but my first boyfriend at 7 years old. He made me a ring from wire and a sequin from his sister's blouse. I still have it decades later. I don't know why I keep it. Story 58. Great kids, and the knowledge that I do not want to be in a relationship with anyone. I am broken. Story 59. An important lesson in self-worth and happiness when I ended it. No hard feelings, but it was overdue. Story 60. The bong we bought together in Berkeley, California. I don't smoke much anymore, but can't bring myself to get rid of it. Story 61. Social anxiety, extreme distrust of women, and 12 years of spiteful behavior that ruined 3 children's lives. How dare I leave her, though? Story 62. Small tiger plush that he won at a carnival. I love stuffed animals even in my old age and never had the heart to toss it. Now that I think about it, that particular stuffed animal is half my current age. My how time flies. Story 63. When I was in college and still learning to shave, my girlfriend used to tease me when I missed the spot where my jaw meets my ear while shaving. I still call it Amanda's spot and have not forgotten to shave it in years. Story 64. Plush toys that both she and I gave each other. I figured if I gave them to her, she would have trashed them, so I decided to keep them to someday give to my children as gifts when they are toddlers or a bit older. Story 65. I am too tired to figure out how to edit my comment, but I wanted to add that I am feeling completely empty inside, waiting to die. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.